Well, the World Economic Forum is underway and leaders are highlighting the importance of global cooperation in the fight against the pandemic.
Ça veut dire qu'on ne peut rien reconstruire, à mes yeux.
I think this means that we can't rebuild anything, in my opinion, in the post-COVID world, without drawing lessons from two fundamental elements. Economy has once again become a moral science, and nothing is above human value. And our societies are vulnerable. Nature reminds us of that. They are vulnerable to pandemic, climate, and other events.
Fort de ces enseignements, mais de ce qu'on avait aussi avant, de ce qu'on savait.
Und das ist natürlich ein Punkt, der uns in den letzten Jahren immer wieder beschäftigt hat.
It has become even clearer to me than it was before that we need to choose a multilateral approach, that a self-isolating approach won't solve our problems.
Ansatz uns nicht dabei helfen wird, die Probleme.
Now, the gathering is being held virtually this year, and that, of course, is because of the coronavirus. It is day 3 of Davos, and world leaders are talking about various global concerns, such as clean energy and a sustainable bioeconomy. We will, of course, keep an eye on events there on day 3 of the Davos agenda. Well, the call for cooperation when it comes to vaccines comes as Africa expresses concern about the hoarding of vaccines by richer nations. Let's bring in Bharat Pankhania, a senior clinical lecturer at the University of Exeter Medical School, joining us live now via Skype from Bath in the UK. Bharat, thank you so much for your time. Now, the call for cooperation when it comes to fighting the pandemic has been a constant refrain since this time last year, but it seems that nations are not heeding the call as expected. Would you say at this point self-interest would trump unity?
It is wrong to have that wrong self-interest, because it is in our own self-interest to look after planet Earth, because the whole world is our family, as ancient scripts in Sanskrit say, Vasudevai Kutumbam, which means the whole world is my family. And if you refuse to act as if the whole world is your family, you are not being fair, and you're not only that, but you're creating problems. So give you an example. If one country is fully immunized and the rest of the world is not immunized, then you have the emergence of different strains, different variants, different problems, which will also come and affect the country that was fully immunized. And therefore it is better for the richer nations. They are all gathering in Davos today to say we are going to increase capacity for manufacture of these vaccines, and we are going to share them equally with all parts of the world. This is a very important thing to do for politicians to do it right.
An important thing to do, and one that should certainly be done, particularly on behalf of those less fortunate regions of the world, Africa among them. But do you really think that African leaders can get a resolution, a commitment at the Davos Forum for a more equitable distribution of vaccines?
It is imperative that the African leaders don't leave Davos and pin the Western leaders down and force them to agree that they are going to share the vaccines for the good of humanity. It is a really important thing. And if they refuse to do so, they are only causing problems for themselves later on, because what happens in Africa will happen in Europe. And this is an important message for the African leaders to say to the European and the American leaders, that if you don't look after us, we will not be able to look after you.
And of course, there are a lot of concerns about new COVID-19 variants emerging. One of the responses to this has been a number of travel bans around the world. Do you think this is the most effective way to respond to new variants?
No, we have to have multi-layered approaches, and the multi-layered approaches is suppress infections in all countries, and that is supply the vaccines, supply other countries with PPE and advice and logistics, as well as monitor the emergence of new viruses. And then, of course, you also have restrictions on movements, but you just can't have restrictions on movements as the solution. The solution has to be multifaceted.
Thank you so much. Bharat Pankhania joining us there from Bath in the UK, sharing some very poignant and meaningful insights there on the COVID-19 vaccines